Hello, how you doing? My name is Antonio. My page is Unapologetically Black. ADOS asks that you like and subscribe to the page and share this page so we begin to get this message out. Today, what I want you to think about is the decivilization of America. And no more evident today than there is in Congress. When you look at the Marjorie Taylor Greens, the Larry Boberts of Congress, then it's clear to see that America is losing its sanity. Europeans are resorting back to their natural nature, their animalistic ways, and it is happening right in front of your eyes.
We're foisting on children 1.5% milk, which doesn't have a very good taste to many of them, and excluding them from 3.5%.
It was one of the most bizarre House floor speeches this year.
We want people to be able to drink the kind of milk they want to drink.
Yes, the same lawmaker who yelled at a black reporter for asking about 2020 election interference has now moved on to dairy products and invoking Santa Claus.
Whole milk is the unsung hero of his Christmas journey. Protein helps build and repair Santa's muscles. Hoisting heavy sacks of gifts up and down the chimney is no easy task.
Speaking of,
I want you to understand that this Republican woman just tried to pass a bill based off of the benefits of whole milk to a fictional character such as Santa Claus, saying Santa Claus uses the calcium from whole milk that enables him to travel the whole world in a reindeer-powered sled to deliver presents to all the houses. Me, I've never had a present delivered. I don't know of anyone who has ever gotten a present delivered from Santa. And understanding the purpose of Black Sunday, of Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, the massive sales in order for people to run out and buy Christmas gifts, we understand that Santa Claus is a fictional fucking character. And to have these Europeans vote someone in office who will sit up here and waste your tax dollars to pass legislations based off the benefits of a fictional character should identify you the decivilization of these white people. What I want us to understand that we are witnessing is the decivilization of Europeans. You'll witness them go back to their original state, to their animalistic behavior. This woman is elected to Congress. You can't just fault her. You have to fault the people who decided to elect this woman to Congress as their representative. This Republican overwhelmingly has a white support base. So I'm telling you, as a collective, these Europeans are decivilizing. And you are witnessing it with your own eyes if you just stop and pay attention to their behavior. Those that are on the highest of levels are acting in uncivilized behavior. So you can imagine the people who support and vote them in, their intellectual level. You think their wealth come from them knowing or having some form of advantage?
Donald Trump is president right now.
He's currently the president.
Absolutely.
He is still president. There's a lot of things that this Biden person does not have, like the presidential seal and things like that, that are pretty obvious.
Biden doesn't have the presidential seal?
No.
When he speaks, there's a presidential seal in front of him.
It's not real.
What is he doing as president?
He is in charge of the military.
Great.
The military is in charge of this whole thing.
The military were put in charge in 2018 when President Trump signed an executive order.
The American military arms that are going to Ukraine, we have Donald Trump to thank for that?
No.
That's
two militaries.
There's two militaries.
There's a good and a bad.
So there's two militaries. Donald Trump's in charge of the good one.
Yes.
Biden's in charge of the bad military?
That's exactly right.
I need you to understand that these are the people that are electing your Marjorie Taylor Greens, your Laura Boudreaux's, your Donald Trump's. These are the people that are placing these people in position of power in order to wreak havoc over our political system. America is at war with itself. America is falling from within because the population is decivilizing. The Europeans are losing their mind, their inability to, their fear of their inability to compete with black people on an equal playing field is causing them to be willing to destroy America. But you have to understand that there has been biblical warnings of this in the Bible.
Later, King Nebuchadnezzar's pride caused him to erect a massive golden statue of himself and command all people to bow down and worship it. Those who refused to worship the statue would be thrown into a fiery furnace.
I need you just to understand that this king is just a stand-in for white supremacy. The same way Hitler murdered Jews claiming to build a white supremacy race in Germany and put them in a furnace, he's just a stand-in for white supremacy. How white people idolize their white supremacy to a point where they're going to decivilize. Their desire to rule and be supreme over all other nations is decivilizing them. And they will suffer from the same outcome as the king in the story.
Bizarre behavior took a dark turn. Driven by megalomania and dreams of divine rule, he demanded worship as a god. His wrath knew no bounds, and he ordered brutal punishments for those who dared challenge his authority. In a chilling incident, Nebuchadnezzar suffered from a mysterious madness, roaming the wilderness like a beast. His reign was a tumultuous blend of grandeur and terror, etching his name into history as a leader both mesmerizing and unsettling. The saga of
Biblically, they speak on how King Nebuchadnezzar ended up spending 7 years in the wilderness eating from the grass like animals. And many a times this will be the fate of Europeans to come when we finally separate from these savage, uncivilized acting people.
What would you say if I told you that there was a country that has arguably the world's oldest democracy with full participation of all of its members? What would you say if I told you that there is a country where a group of people has the oldest written constitution featuring guarantees for individual freedom and due process in the world? What would you say if I told you there was a country that featured full participation of women in its political system, both to vote and to govern? And they started doing this when Europe was in the Dark Ages, in the 800s. What would you say if I told you this very same country has the greatest number of doctors living in the United States of America per capita than any other nation in the world, making America better, building tech companies in the United States to help the people back home? Would anybody be able to guess that country was in Africa? Would anybody be able to guess that country is Nigeria? Because it is. That's Nigeria. So when you say, why Nigeria, it is almost a fool's question. One of the greatest nations that has all of these things going for it, and yet we constantly constantly turn our back on Nigeria. Shouldn't we be favoring this nation? Shouldn't we be more attentive to this nation?
See, what black people don't understand is Europeans have been taking on your identity for the last 400 or 500 so years, but you don't understand that because they have deprived you of your access to this information. This is why we talk about the Vatican having so much hidden information. This is why we talk about going and doing your own researches, because you don't understand that democracy is not innate to white people. That comes from us. But because they have not told you your history, you think these white people created democracy here in America, when actuality all of it comes from black people and our understanding of freedom, justice, and equality. You see how Google just read that off? How Google just lied. The University of Algeria is the oldest existing, continuously operating, and first degree awarding educational institution in the world according to UNESCO and Guinness World Records. The institution was incorporated into Morocco Modern State University System in 1963. So when a black person tell another educated black person, why you acting all educated, that is because that black person who made that statement is not aware of who they are originally. They have been placed into the position of the people who are their oppressor. This is the condition of our original oppressors, people who reject education. This is why you can see right now the Republican Party is about banning schools and is rejecting critical race theory. That is who they are as a people. And if you understood and knew your history as a people, which they intentionally denied you, you would know that. You would know that they conquered Spain from black people, and the first thing they did was burn books, hide knowledge from us of who you were. You will understand that they use ignorance as a means to govern their own people. If you were in touch with who you are as a people, black people, this is what I'm saying to you. Do not decivilize with these Europeans. University of Al-Qadiyah, also written Al-Qadiyah or Al-Qazian, is the university located in France, Morocco. It was founded as a mosque by Fatimiyya al-Faria in 859, and subsequently became one of the leading spiritual and educational center of the Islamic Golden Age. This was a woman founded this university in Morocco, and it's the oldest degree issuing university in the world. And it was founded in 859. So when you see that in Nigeria, which is not too far away from them, where they had the oldest known democracy in the world, you can see the education, equality, freedom, and justice was something that was innate to blacks. And if you understand history, you will know that the Turkish did not become Muslims until 900 AD. So around 60 years later, 40 years later, the Turks start becoming Muslim. So at this time, Islam was in the hands of black people, and it was not an oppressive religion towards women. But because we lack and understand our history and ourselves, and we're allowing other people to give us our history for us, these things we do not know. But it's time to learn these things because these Europeans are clearly decivilizing right before our eyes, and we cannot afford to decivilize along with them.